Welcome everybody to TaskHuman Talks, where we bring you one of our very amazing wellness professionals to share and reflect on their wellness specialty. I am your host and fellow wellness provider on TaskHuman, Jamie Carroll. And today we have the amazing Casey Maples with us. Hey, Casey.
Hello, Jamie. Thank you for that wonderful introduction. You're amazing as well.
Yeah, and I want to start by stating that you are a certified health coach, licensed massage therapist, yoga instructor and trainer, a certified fitness instructor as well, specializing in senior wellness. And you've been a business owner and entrepreneur for over 30 years. Did I get all of that right?
You did. I mean, I feel like all those hats I'm wearing, I just aged about 50 years, you know, but yeah, have done those things and I'm still doing those things. So yes, you've got them right.
So amazing. And you sent me over some things, like some companies that you started and created, and all of it is so amazing. The one I really want to start with is the yoga youth teacher training, because you're bringing yoga and teacher training to a younger population, right? Is it high school age?
So, and if you want to simplify yoga youth teacher training to Y2T2, it's a little less, a little less of a mouthful.
I like that. Yeah.
Just say the youth yoga, but yeah, it's quite the mouthful. So, in working with my teacher Girish Jha for so many years, he teaches all around the world, all different populations, but he has a real love for working with youth, as do I. So it was a natural alliance to create a program that was geared toward youth. At the time of graduation of the 200 hours Yoga Alliance registered course, they need to be between the ages of 13 and 20. So we've had students start as young as 11 years old, and she's getting ready to graduate now, just turned 13. She's so amazing. Every single student is amazing, but the youth know when they come into this program, they're led to it for whatever reason. Like some of them that came into the program never had done yoga, but they just felt a strong calling that this is what they wanted to go toward. Yeah. So as far as I know, we are still we were the first and the only Yoga Alliance approved program for youth. Like we don't take any adults. We could train adults, but we choose to train the youth. So that's what yoga youth teacher training does. They get their 200 hours and, you know, we just feel so blessed to be able to guide them in the authentic practices and principles of yoga.
This is amazing. And I think it's so important right now in today's world with everything going on to have this opportunity for the youth to be able to experience something like this.
Yeah, and we are maintaining our trainings online. So, you know, quite thankful to the Yoga Alliance that they understand that, you know, we're not able to train, particularly here in the state of Arizona. Right. We're not able to train in person as easily as we once were. Now, fortunately, our class sizes are so small that we can maintain social distancing. That doesn't mean that parents and kids are comfortable in that environment. So being able to listen to the instructors and the parents and the kids and customize the training for their needs, it's really been an incredible transition from where we were, you know, 6 months ago, 8 months ago, and students, and then coming into this new world. And we're finding that it's working well. You know, we can meet in person and we can meet online, and either way the youth are getting it. So yeah, it's working.
That's really awesome. So if someone who is listening to this, you know, has a teenager or is interested in learning more about this. So is this a program that these kids can do online, or would they have to go to Arizona if it's being done in person, or is it all over?
Student anywhere. Recently we had a student that wanted to register from New Jersey, which is a beautiful thing because Girish and I met, my teacher and I met in New Jersey. So it's like, oh wow, you know, it's awesome. Full circle of it. Yeah. But no, we've found out that we can bring the authentic yoga to anybody in any way. So yeah, again, fortunate for that. So y2t2.org is a real simple website that they can go to. But yeah, reach out on TaskHuman if parents had any questions. Anybody had any questions? Happy to help youth on TaskHuman. Don't see why we can't help the youth as well.
Absolutely. Yes. I love this so much. And kind of leading into that, another company that you helped found, and I think this was also for your mentor, who I really want to talk about in a little bit too. So we'll get to that. The One Acre Foundation, and
Yeah.
that's a nonprofit for the underserved, underprivileged communities. Tell us a little bit more about that.
So yoga youth teacher training is offered under our Shreya School of Yoga Living company. And that's for those families who are fortunate enough that they can afford the tuition for 200 hours of training, which we keep as reasonable as we possibly can.
Okay.
Works out to be about $10, $10 an hour.
Wow.
It's just a little over $2,000 for the tuition.
Yeah.
But we definitely understand. I mean, I came from a single parent home. My mama was a school teacher. Girish is born and raised in India. Definitely not a silver spoon in his mouth, even though he comes from a family that was comfortable. They were philosophers and teachers and highly respected in the Indian community. Still, we know the need to work with those. That money is just not something that's free flowing. So yoga practices and principles need to go to those families, those communities where they stand to possibly benefit more than other folks who can, afford to go maybe have a spa day, right?
Yeah.
Or they can afford to go out of town. They have the means to get themselves into nature. Some of the youth in Arizona, some of the schools that we've gone out to guest speak and, potentially offer the program to at no cost to the students, they're in rural communities. Boy, that's a hard one to say. RURAL.
It is actually.
Yeah, get another cup of coffee. But so they're in farming communities, and people may not think of the Valley of the Sun having a lot of areas like that, but our Southwest Valley, our Southeast Valley, there's a lot of farming communities, and there's a lot of immigrant families or first generation families, and also in the inner cities. So we also have a large youth population who are raised and living perhaps still on the reservation. So these are youth that don't get much of an opportunity to have the experience of a yoga studio, right?
Yeah.
So One Acre Foundation allows us to go to those youth. And in addition to youth, we can go to anybody who's struggling, in life, whether it's addiction or whether, it's emotional imbalances, but we can bring those authentic practices and principles of Eastern wisdom to those in need. So one example of that is I'm working with Phoenix Children's Hospital, one of the local hospitals here, to work with families who have been through traumatic experiences. So yoga is available to everybody, but so often these communities that we've spoken about, they just don't have an avenue. Where do they find it? So our work with One Acre is to get in there and make sure that they know it's accessible to them. It has nothing to do with their economic status. We can get in there.
And you just said something that really resonated with me, where you were talking about like the substance use disorders, people that are struggling with things like that. Just being someone in recovery myself, I have really, used a lot of these principles myself in my own recovery journey. So when you're dealing with people and kids in the younger generation that don't have a lot of money, their families don't have a lot of money, this is just such an important program to have out there. So I'm really excited about all the stuff that you are doing.
Thank you. We feel good about it. At the end of the day, do you feel good about your work? And
right.
you feel good about it. We have these conversations. I study with my teacher at least once a week. I help with editing his books, and so we work closely together. And at the end of the day, it's not, can we write ourselves a paycheck out of, the company? It's about, how are the students doing this week? How are the participants, who's reached out this week that's in need of a little extra help? And, you mentioned about the youth and bringing them these tools for modern day living. And especially now, so many students are struggling with this change of life. So many of our students have found that the simple practices they are helping them maintain, you know, until they know
Exactly.
what their new foundation is going to look like. Because here in Arizona, they still are very much on, well, we think we're on virtual learning for this week, but we might go back next week. You know,
Right.
they just don't know. And that's
Yeah.
really hard for youth. I think as adults, we can adapt better to that. But for
Yeah.
youth, that's a really hard place to be. Am I going to see my friends or am I not going to see my friends? You know?
Yeah. I know. That's why I really wanted to get you on here talking about all this stuff because, yeah, this day and age, I mean, I know so many adults that are struggling, you
Yeah.
know, just parents that are struggling and thinking about
Yeah.
how that is reflected on the children. You know what I mean? When
Correct.
they experience even more of that, the unknown, the uncertainty. So,
Yeah, and we
yeah.
want the kid, and we work with the parents as well. In fact, we have them sign an agreement that they will do what they can to support their child's growth.
Mhm.
A lot of times, quite frankly, we are working with the parents to help them understand how yoga can help them so they can be a better parent, because
Yeah.
the kids they are so sensitive
Yeah.
to whatever's going on in the parent's life. So if the parent is stressing, the child feels that, and they may not be always able to pinpoint that. You know, we work with them to help bring up their awareness and what is stimulating them from the outside and turn them back toward the inside. But a lot of times we find we need to educate the parents also, not just on what their child is going through, but that they too could have these principles in their life, and it will do nothing but make them a better person, also a better parent, right? If we're
Yeah.
a better person, if we can keep on working and be the best person we can be, we know any hat we wear, we're going to be better in that hat.
Yeah. And I think too, it really provides a feeling of opportunity, not just a feeling, it is an opportunity for people, right? To expand in this yoga practice, to do something right now, you know. I'm seeing a lot of people out in the world, right, because with COVID and everything going on, who are losing jobs, who are just struggling, and this really provides an opportunity to do something new, to try something new.
And to get the name, and to, you know, stop using our word of yoga for those who are still
Mhm.
thinking that it's only stretch, right?
Yeah.
It really show that that word mindfulness /
Mhm.
meditation, interchangeable even by the masters for thousands of years, those are interchangeable words, that
Yeah.
is accessible to everybody.
Mhm.
Everybody can be guided into that
Yeah.
state of relaxation and mindfulness. You know, it's not
Absolutely.
something you have to be a yogi that stands, you know, on one leg, or,
You
you know,
don't.
practices on
You
your head.
don't, everybody, because I don't. You absolutely do not. And if you're watching this or listening to this, stick around because we're going to do a meditation at the end of this, and definitely want you to participate in it.
That'd be
But
great.
you've talked a lot about your mentor, and I want to shift into that relationship. So you've been working with this mentor for quite a while, right?
Yes, yes.
Tell us more about that.
Well, I was fortunate enough to meet him back in New Jersey. I had wellness studios back in New Jersey, and they were an open center with all kinds of beliefs that could come in, all kinds of different, you know, practitioners and people who had knowledge to bring. And so somebody had heard of the studio and it introduced, said, you need to go meet, you know, Casey in the studio. And boy, it was just, you know, life changing. So that was 2007. I was
Wow.
getting ready at that time to make the move back to Arizona to help take care of my mom. So we didn't get a lot of face-to-face time together from 2007 to 2008 when I moved back here. However, our relationship was already forged.
Mm.
And to have a teacher, to have a mentor in your life at any age, I believe is the way that we're supposed to live our life, right? I think that it's so imperative that, you know, you don't go out and just say, hey, I'm going to do brain surgery today. You know,
Mhm.
you have educators, you have mentors, you have practice, you have to apply, you have to study. Meditation, yoga, these things, it's been around for thousands of years. What would ever make me think that I could navigate these waters, you know, and be successful on my own? So he and I forged this relationship in 2007, and, you know, maintains to this day. He's I've said it before, but he, in a completely different way, is the greatest influence of my life just like my mother in a completely different way. So both these people have been, have just brought this incredible depth to what a life is supposed to be. And Mama's been gone for a long time. But Garish, whether he were here in body or mind, or whether, he's 3,000 miles away in Jersey, or, now he lives in Gilbert, Arizona. So we're only divided by about an hour.
Yeah.
But we still maintain that relationship. Just like the relationship with my mom. Everything that she's taught me still remains in my life to these days,
Yeah,
So he's
absolutely.
an individual, though. He's pretty incredible, and I'm very fortunate to have him as a teacher.
That's amazing. And correct me if I'm wrong, this is just coming to my mind right now. You guys traveled to India and did some things there together. Is that right?
Yes.
Tell us a little bit about that.
We like to plan a trip for every year. So we would have been there this year as well. And right up until about April, we still had hopes that things were going to clear. We really had hopes that the heat in India and the heat in Arizona would kill off this darn virus. So even though our trip is postponed and we're looking at probably 2022 at this point, everybody who was on board to go, and some of these being our Y2T2 students and their parents, as well as others, they're still on board for the next trip. So that's a wonderful thing. But yes, in 2019, last year, we go for a meditation intensive, even though we're in the heart of India. We go to Haridwar and Rishikesh. So we're in the place of, where masters have been in the Himalayas for years upon years, thousands of years. And then we get to be with our teacher, and surrounded by other great masters in ashram on the Ganga, on the Ganges River. And it's a really amazing experience to be able to go with someone who it's their homeland, number one. So knows multiple languages, right?
Yeah.
That's a beautiful thing. But part of what we do on TaskHuman and part of what we do in being of service in this life is our networking ability. I may not be the right person for you, but there's a good chance I'm going to know one or two or some other people I can send you to make sure that you get the support that you need. Well, Garish has that network in India. So no matter whether it was a shopping spree or whether it was a deal on a hotel room or how to go to the food market there, I wanted to say farmer's market, but it's not really what a farmer's market is there, but the open air market, and get the best food for us. So every day we were given this opportunity to experience the culture, but in a way that is completely filled with love. Every single person there was supportive of this process. So it wasn't like, hey, we've got these Americans coming into India, right? It was like, we just got this huge family coming back together, and it was a really fabulous experience. I want to say that I was disappointed in not going this year, but it will happen. So the disappointment really wasn't there. It was just kind of weird that today we would actually be, in Rishikesh, or today we would be doing this part of the meditation. So it was interesting as emotions rise and fall.
Yeah, absolutely. And this trip to India, is that offered to anybody that wants to go?
Anybody can come. Yeah, we try to make sure. I think sometimes people feel that they have to go. They have a certain concept of what they want India to be for them. But my suggestion is, whenever you do end up going, there's real value, again, to going with a teacher, to going with a mentor, so that you're not spending time caught up. Yoga teaches us that, anything that distracts you in the external world is taking away from the essence of who you truly are. So if you're thinking about safety, if you're thinking about navigating roads, if you're doing all these other things when you're in India, are you able really to, do the good work? And I'm not saying everything has to be about a deep meditation intensive, but when you go with a guide, and again, a guide on a deeper level, somebody who knows more than you, now you can relax and do the work, whatever that work is for you. So that's another relationship with Karish that's just like exceptional. How could you want anything else?
Yeah, I love how you were saying that. You can relax into it and just do the work without thinking about all the things that you need to navigate. And that's, whether you're in India or in your home, working with a coach, with a mentor can really help you just focus on yourself, get the work done, and kind of get rid of all the outside noise, I guess, if you will. So
absolutely. And I,
powerful.
that's what David and Robbie have created with TaskHuman, in that people can as comfortably as they can when they're navigating a new territory, or asking for assistance from somebody that is, it more in the know. What they've created with TaskHuman, the platform is so comfortable. Come in for 7 minutes, no charge, get a touchy-feely for, the person. If you have a good rapport, see them again. If it's not the right person, go for another round, see who else you can find. This is tremendous, As a provider, it's just like an incredible family to be a part of. The network is just a wonderful idea, a wonderful concept that I want to keep supporting, lifting up.
Absolutely. I love that you just brought that up too. So anyone, if you're wondering what TaskHuman is, or you're new, you have the opportunity to jump on with a provider for 7 minutes. It's free to you, and just see if it's going to be a good fit, see what they have to offer, how they might be able to help you. Right. And if it's not, we could always recommend someone that we think would be a good fit. So I love it.
Isn't there like 3,000 different providers of all kinds of different? I mean, I'm not sure what the numbers are.
I don't know the exact numbers, but we have so many, such a huge umbrella of wellness specialties out there.
Yeah, absolutely.
Such a huge
Fitness,
umbrella.
wellness, nutrition, all that.
Yes.
So yeah, my suggestion to anybody who is listening or watching is, man, get some help, get some support for whatever it is that you're desiring to change in your life, because that's how we make lasting changes. We have, part of that is a support system, and TaskHuman can give you some of that support that you're looking for, even if it's a 7-minute snippet, until you find somebody that can actually, continue to help you rise, lift you up.
Yeah. And even if you are a coach or a wellness worker or a fellow provider, same thing, get a coach, get a mentor. It's, clearly it's been life-changing for Casey. It's also been very life-changing for me as well. I'm working with two of my own coaches right now, and it's just so important, I think. So I love that we share that. I want to move on and talk about your own training. So you just became a health and wellness coach recently. Is that right?
Yeah, I just certified. Yeah.
Awesome. Congratulations on that.
Thank you. It was a tough few months. I set out a goal for myself and accomplished that goal in the time that I set out to do it, which was about probably 3 to 6 months shorter time than most people do. So what the recommended was. So by the time I sat down and took the test, it was kind of like one of those things. Well, I either do or I don't. And if I don't, well, then I at least have the experience and can take it again down the road. But fortunately, I don't have to do that. So
that's awesome.
Health coaching, taking that certification fits in so well with everything else that I do. But the interesting thing is, it's another hat to change. So as a health and wellness coach, to be that supportive factor as opposed to being that expert, it's completely different. So I really am humbled by another skill that's into my toolbox now that I have to be aware of and make sure that I honor that title.
Yeah, absolutely. And with this new knowledge that you have, how do you plan to work with your clients and students?
Well, already I'm gathering clinical hours, seeing people online. And again, the Zooming thing is just, meeting virtually is just fabulous, because nobody's having to get in their car and drive somewhere.
Right.
I can meet with them when the time of day is best for them. So if they're a morning person, if they're an evening person, if they've just got, a few minutes in the middle of the day, I can find that time that works for them, which is, again, so important when you're supporting somebody's journey. So I'm hoping, I just signed a lease on a new office space that I'm looking forward to moving into, because I just find these new times there's such opportunity. You know, I don't
Yes.
see that we're stuck. I see that we have, okay, this whole new avenue. Then instead of me designing it, it kind of came to me and said, here, what are you going to
Amazing.
do with this? So I'm looking forward to seeing clients in my new office. I'll probably move in a month or so. And I'll be able to do TaskHuman out of that office just
Absolutely.
as good as I can right here in my little home office.
Exactly.
So,
Wait, where is that? Are you in your kitchen right now, or is that? Amazing.
isn't
Yes,
everybody in
I'm
this?
kind of in mine. You can see mine in the background too.
Yes, last time you and I met, I think you saw my counter full of supplements. So I have
Yes, that's
to
right.
bring my counter full of supplements.
Yes.
Anyway, that's
But
that.
it is great because you can be anywhere, right? You can be in any time zone, right?
Yeah, I tend to, particularly with my TaskHuman time, I tend to always make sure that I am grounded and centered though. So I will always make sure that I'm at my computer when I'm on, available, so that, and I'm usually working on a book edit for my teacher, or I'm working on, some other website stuff, or I'm working on Y2T2 stuff for the kids. It's just like school. I have papers that I need to grade, final exams to get ready. But I try to remain grounded and centered. I try to take that hat from, okay, I'm focused on whatever I might be editing or working on, and completely tune into my TaskHuman call when the caller will come in. I think that is something that for me is essential, to know that I'm giving the utmost of myself. I'm of service 100% to that individual. So whether I'll be in my office space, or whether I'll be in this home office,
other office space, your second office now.
I try to keep it limited. I'm not one who can easily go from iPhone to iPad to computer. So I tend to not be online if I'm out, say, grocery store shopping or gardening. Not that I'd be gardening in Phoenix weather right now, but
Yeah.
So
Yeah, I think it would be a little hard to answer a call if you're at the grocery store.
exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Okay, awesome. And I also want to talk about your senior wellness. Tell us a little bit more about that. How are you helping people in that area?
Well, I'll tell you what's really interesting with that. So I've been guiding yoga for over 20 years, but in the last probably 12 years, since I got back to Arizona, the only place that I'm an employee of is a very high-end, probably the fanciest health and racket club here in the Valley. And my classes have, I would say an average of 25 or so people in them. I can have more than 30, and I can have probably 18, 20 people in there. I tend to draw all ages, but of the 12 years, I would say it's my 50 plusers that have stayed. And I have a few students that are above 80 years old.
Wow.
That their yoga practice is a beautiful practice. Their meditation is beautiful. Their movement is beautiful. Now, a couple of my 80 plusers have really had to be super careful with the days of COVID. So the people that I see for body work, the people that I see, the seniors that I see for senior fitness wellness, we have a pact that our circle is very, very small, that we will maintain, honesty with each other if anything has happened, like if somebody decided to go take a trip on an airplane, if somebody, knew that they had a potential for exposure, because Arizona is still quite high. So one of my seniors, I go to her house. I meet with her 2 times a week to support her in her movement and her fitness. So she has a wonderful swimming pool that, one day we can be in the pool and working different things for balance and stability and cardio. She swims laps, and I believe she's 88 years old.
That's so great.
Oh, she's amazing. She swims laps, but that's primarily what she does, is swimming laps. So things like functional movement, like walking, heel through the ball of the foot, pushing off of the toes, she isn't doing that regularly, right? right? So in the pool, she's not, really using that that mobility in her ankle joint the same way that she will when she's on land. So we work these things. One day a week we'll be in the house and we'll work different strengthening and balancing exercises. And then another day of the week we'll be out in the pool. I'm always wearing a mask, even in the pool, but the pool, it's much easier for us to, have a good distance apart. With my seniors, particularly the ones that are over 65, I would say, there's definitely a little bit of a hearing loss. So it's a little bit more difficult with a mask, because I even catch myself. I can't have my, lip reading when somebody has their mask on.
I have trouble understanding people.
Right?
When they're talking with their masks on. Yes.
Right, you didn't realize. So I'm really aware of that too. But the fact that their family structures, their sons and daughters and in-laws and grandkids are all supportive of me coming into their home environment and meeting with them, it's just so humbling. It's just such an honor that they'll say, okay, nobody else can come in the house, but Casey can come. The seniors,
that's important too, to get, to have the support of,
the seniors are really struggling because of the lack of socialization. So some years ago, I created a program for this club called Evolve Fit. And it took brain and it took wellness, wellness as far as nutrition and sleep, the importance of sleep. We had guest speakers come in, all kinds of stuff. So all kinds of mobility, but for everybody who's 50 and above, which, I am. I'm in that world, right? So I was creating.
I don't believe it.
It worked for me, right? So if I know it works for me, then I'm going to be able to guide others. This goes back to that, living authentically. But that socialization was so key. So to have these groups of individuals that could come into class and feel like they could talk to each other, I encourage, let's talk while we're working out here. Let's make this fun. I don't want to do things not fun. Well, that's all gone away for them, right? They don't have their social support any longer. And Zooming, for those who are used to having, something to do, somewhere to go, and not able to do that now, it's still not the same,
It's not. And I don't know if anybody else has been getting a little Zoom fatigue. Zoom fatigue is a real thing, right? Where you're almost like, I just can't even get on another Zoom call.
I've heard about it. I haven't had it yet, but I've heard about it. Maybe we need to work out a coaching relationship here.
We do, yes. We just said everybody needs a coach all the time. Yes, I would love to add another one.
Fatigue. It's another specialty I think I have to work on.
Yes. Zoom fatigue through TaskHuman. So then, you're not on Zoom.
That's great.
Well, we could keep talking about this all day, and I want to kind of start winding down a little bit so we can get into that meditation. When you're working on TaskHuman with clients, how are you working with people, in the video app of TaskHuman? How would that look?
So if they want a session, like a one-on-one session where they want physical yoga, asana, then I take my laptop, I set it over in my family room. I'm guiding other classes already, so I'm quite comfortable with it since March, setting up my family room to look like a professional studio nowadays. I shouldn't say professional because I'm not doing this, with the level that other people are. I don't have great lighting. I just open the window shades.
Yeah, that's what I did.
So if it's a one-on-one session that they're wanting something longer than the 7 minutes, or even if in that 7 minutes they said, hey, I really need some help with, crow, or I need some help. Can you help me with headstand? In 7 minutes, I'm capable of giving, basic asana things, particularly what's going to keep them safe, the things that are going to be mindful. But if we had longer time, then I can do a full asana session. If it's mindfulness practices, if it's, concerns about fitness or new things they want to embark on, depending on which hat that I'm wearing, then, it's as easy as me just looking over at the iPad and taking the call there. I don't have to do any shuffling around, for that.
Amazing.
So with the mindfulness practices, they're probably the simplest, they're probably the simplest since I'm not a registered dietitian or, I'm not somebody who's needing to give them a lot of guidance on specific nutrition. If I'm doing health and wellness coaching, then I'm just supporting them in the things that they're thinking about they want to do, right?
Yeah.
But with mindfulness, it's even simpler than that, because mindfulness is quite simple. If it's hard, something's, not doing something right. Okay. If
Yeah.
it's hard, we're not doing something right, because all we're doing is attaching ourselves to, and I mean that in a positive way, that's always there.
Yeah.
All we're doing is opening up a door and saying hello to something that's always been there, will always be there. It never changes. Yoga teaches us it's the only thing in life that never changes. Everything else is always changing. So what are we getting all upset about? If everything around us is always changing and you have the constant inside,
Yeah.
there's no reason to be upset.
Yes. Isn't
So
there like a quote or something that's like the only constant
it's
is
change.
change? Yeah.
I love that.
Absolutely. I gotta write that one down. Amazing. Yeah. So really using those mindful tools and techniques and yeah, just support through this time as well,
Yeah.
Well, speaking of mindfulness, let's do a little meditation. Maybe a short one, maybe 3 minutes or so of just a meditation as we wind down the session. If
Great.
you're driving, please do not do this meditation because it will make you drowsy. So just being aware of that. But yeah, Casey, you ready to lead us in something?
Sure. I guess what I would say first and foremost is, for anybody who's thinking about doing a meditation, take the M word out and start with the R word. Let's just make it relaxation. Because if you cannot relax in your physical body, there's no way that you can advance to mindfulness. There's no way that you can get to meditation. You have to have the physical body comfortable. So right now, if you want to lie down on your back, if you want to get into fetal position, if you're comfortable seated, take that time and figure out where can your bones be most comfortable. When your bones are comfortable, then the rest of the body will follow. So I'm going to ask that you either close your eyes if you're comfortable with closing your eyes, or at least halfway close them to a soft gaze. Why? Because yoga tells us that we need to withdraw the 5 sense organs. So simply by closing the eyes, already you're experiencing what they call pratyahara. You're starting to withdraw the sense organs, and it's easier for you to start relaxing. So if you need to wiggle your body in any way, please take a couple deep breaths. Find out if the body is comfortable. Now, nothing has to change once your body is comfortable. Move your awareness to your head and your neck. Just like the sun is in the sky, or perhaps the time of the day, it's the moon for you. You know it's there. Move your awareness to your head and your neck. You don't have to think on it. You don't have to focus. You just move your awareness. Take a breath in through the nose and a gentle breath out through the mouth, like blowing out a candle. Sensation, relaxation, and stillness. Move your awareness to the chest and the belly. A breath in through the nostrils and out through the nostrils. Let's maintain the breath in and out through the nostrils from here on out as you move your awareness to your hip joints. Sensation, relaxation, and stillness. Breathing in and breathing out. Move the mind on the right leg from your hip joint through your toes. 100% of your awareness on the right leg from your hip through your toes. You need to do nothing. The body is still. The breath flows naturally. The mind moves on the left leg. From the hip through your toes, sensation, relaxation, and stillness. The awareness flows to your right shoulder through your fingers. Left arm, shoulder through your fingers. Bring your awareness to the tip of your tailbone, through the base of your skull. Sensation, relaxation, and stillness. Look inside, deep within the belly, to the space, to the darkness, deep within the abdomen. Say to yourself mentally, I am peace. Move your awareness to the center of the heart space. There is no light. There is nothing but space. And say to yourself mentally, I am peace. Move your awareness deep within your brow. Mentally, I am peace. Sense the breath as it comes in through your nostrils and leaves through your nostrils in its own time. No effort, no anxiety, no direction. Observe the breath as it moves in through the nostrils. Body responds by rising and expanding naturally, and out through the nostrils, the body falls into place naturally. The next time you inhale, gently open your eyes, soft gaze if they're closed, and remain in your stillness. Then begin to softly move the physical body in the space, however it may want to move. Readjust your bones. Come back into a place that you recognize outside in and inside out. Now, Jamie, how do you feel?
I feel great.
Do you feel relaxed?
I do feel very relaxed. I feel relaxed.
Relaxed.
Yeah, I feel very relaxed, but also like almost an energy through the relaxation to finish my day. Right? Yeah.
Everybody has a different experience, but to be able to find that calmness and clarity depends upon you first becoming comfortable in any of those things that might distract you. And we're not always successful, no matter how many years we've been doing this work. So that's another thing that the practices teach us is, you know, it's not about yesterday. It's not about tomorrow or where you're going to be 20 years from now. Can you be 100% in this moment? in this
Absolutely.
inhale, in that exhale. And that's how we be the best human we can be. That's
I
how we
love
live this life fully, is these simple principles, these simple practices. So Jamie, thank you for letting me do that.
Thank you for leading us in that. That was really amazing. And I love how you started it with, just getting comfortable in your body. And just, because when we're not comfortable in our bodies, starting a meditation, like that's kind of what we're thinking about. Like, oh, I just wish and it's like, just get comfortable, just move your body to what works for you. So that was great. I really loved it. Thank you so much. And thank you for joining me here today.
Pleasure.
Yes,
Thank
absolutely.
you,
Everyone.
David and Robbie, for doing this. Jamie, I'm
Yes.
so thankful.
And please reach out to Casey on TaskHuman if you need training, coaching, mindfulness, a yoga practice, whatever you need right now, just
Bring your
support.
teen pin if you have a teenager or
Yes,
struggling.
absolutely. Yeah,
Um,
or if you just want more information on the Y2T2, I wrote it down. I had to look on
it's
that
easy to
program.
say, isn't it?
Yes. Absolutely. So that's all we have for you guys today. Thank you for tuning in. Once again,
Thanks,
thank you,
everyone.
Casey. And I'll see
Yeah,
you guys next time.
right. Namaste.
Namaste.